Welcome to Rebelize Change. Are you ready to start fresh and make the most of your next chapter? We're your guides, here to equip you with inspiration and actionable ideas to help you thrive. Join us as we rebelize change together.
Hi, everyone. My name is Christian Farrell, and I'm here with my lovely co-host.
Hi, my name is Paula Quesada.
Hey, Paula. And we're part of the movement called Rebelize Change. Paula, I was so excited the other day when you sent me that link. You texted me the link about Leah Remini.
Yes,
And
super cool.
I think I was lying down or something. I don't know. All I know is I sat up and I was like, this is freaking awesome. I'm like, we have to talk about this because it's not every day someone as high profile as Leah Remini, who's been on like shows like King of Queens that aired for for years. And I mean, people know who she is. And she's never been shy about like talking about her experiences. And of course, we know, with things that she's gone through in the past and how open she's been, but how she talked about this one thing, which is starting over at age 53. And what is it that she did at age 53?
She just received her associate's degree.
That's fantastic.
It's hard because I know from experience to go back to school, especially if, that people think at 53 you're just old and
you're like you don't learn anymore. You're just sit there and shrivel away. But let me ask you, so I read it and I got so excited about it, right? Because I'm thinking like, oh, this is fantastic. And it inspired me too. Because the first thing I thought about was like someone that's well known like her, that's famous like her, to even want to pursue a degree, right? Like what made her do it? And then when she talked about it openly, that she's always wanted to pursue higher ed. She mentioned that her education was like an 8th grade level and she never felt smart enough. And she never felt like it was a thing that she could do. And then through, and I'll just say it, address the elephant in the room, but because of Scientology, there are a lot of things that she was unable to do. Yeah. And she was able to break free from that. It's not something easy for people to just talk about, like being, their age and accomplishing or trying something new.
Yeah. No, quoting her, she said, it's never too late to continue your education and pursue what you always wanted to achieve for yourself, because this is something she was doing for herself. She didn't have to, show anybody else that, this is what I did.
It was for her. Like, it wasn't something that it wouldn't have made a difference in her career as an actress, but this was a goal for her. Like she always wanted to do it, and she finally felt like she got the courage to do it, right?
Yeah, which is it's pretty amazing. And I recently went back to school too, and I thought it was great. It's a crazy idea, like it's nuts. What's the point? At my age, what's the point of going back to school? But it's something that when I was in high school, that's all I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to pursue psychology, and I knew that I wanted to get my degree. And then, shit happens. And then life starts happening, and then you think that you have a certain stage or certain stages that you have to do things, and then once that stage is gone, that you can't go back and do those things, and that's not how it should be. Like, that's something that I always wanted to do, and I got a chance to do it, and I said, okay, I'm gonna do this, and now I want to just keep studying and keep studying.
That's amazing. Like it opened
up
all the opportunities, right? So let's go back to Leah. So one of the things that she mentioned was the challenges that she faced in going back to school. But on there, she talked about feeling that she wouldn't fit in because of her age, the age, that because a lot of the other people were a lot younger than her, she didn't feel like it was a space that she would be welcomed. I'm here, my classmates are like, 20, 20 years younger or something like that, or whatever, or 30
Well,
years
a lot
younger.
younger. A lot of these kids are straight out of high school, so
That's
they're
true.
18 years
Yeah. So
old.
40 years. Yeah. So thinking about like decades younger. So thinking about
And
that, like
you're
that's,
like you could be their mother,
yeah.
and it's just
Yeah.
it's I was freaking out at first, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna walk in there, everybody's gonna look at me. And it wasn't like that at all. Like, yeah, I was looking around and I'm like, what are these children doing here? Because you don't realize that, you know, at our age, well, at my age,
Yeah.
an 18-year-old is a child.
Yeah.
But when I was 18, I didn't feel like a child,
No. Isn't
you
that
know,
something?
so it's
It's just
it's
the
pretty
lens in
crazy.
which you're
Yeah.
seeing the world, right? Our lens from being an 18-year-old to being what, our current age is like, it's significant, a significant difference.
Yeah.
So let me ask you then. So since we were talking about like, some of the challenges that she faced, so let's talk about from the beginning. At what point, so let's walk me through it. At what point did you decide, finally, I'm going to go back to school?
Well, COVID is what happened to me. Um, so I was kind of smacked in the face um, with a lot of decisions that I had to do, and there was a lot of time for reflection. That I hadn't done
Yeah.
in a really long time, which, you and I talked a lot on here about reflection and how important it is. And you stop do after a while, life starts happening and you don't really do these reflections. And I was not really happy with the way my life was turning out. And, I went back to what have I always wanted, and
Hmm.
having this degree was important to me. So I I had a great opportunity because COVID had just happened, and um, they were giving all these incentives to go back to school, and I had, I think, three semesters left to get my associates.
Okay.
So I'm like, you know what?
Why not?
I'm not doing anything else. I'm
Right.
stuck at home. Why can't I do this? So
True.
I, started taking classes online, and then once I got my associates, I'm like, I need to get my bachelor's because I know that I what I want to do is going to require more school. So I did, and that's when I had to start going to school on campus here at FIU. And at first, I was really freaked out. But this is something that I wanted to do for myself. It wasn't something that, oh, I want to show everyone what I can do.
Good
No,
for you. Yeah. For
this was
you.
a
For
goal
you.
for me,
Yeah.
and you
Wow.
know, and it felt really good. And just the whole experience, the whole college experience, if nobody's ever done it before, because a lot of people haven't.
Right.
And it's a wonderful experience. And I do wish that I had done it in my 20s. It would have been a lot different, but now at my age I feel like I was a lot more dedicated
Yeah.
than I would
Yeah.
have been in my
Oh
20s.
my God.
Like,
All I think about is like, if I were a teen or like in my early 20s doing college, I honestly probably would have been hanging by a thread because I
uh,
would have been very sociable back in
oh
those
yeah.
days. So I feel like there's a reason for the timing sometimes. Like at least I want to believe that, right?
I think for me too, I think that I was thinking back of what was I doing at that age? And yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God. That's amazing.
So it was difficult. It really was. The whole thing was difficult, but um, one step at a time. And the good thing
True.
was that I did, I had my goals set out, and I did a lot of reflection all the time. Um, and but I made it happen.
Absolutely. So, what would you say were like the biggest challenges that you faced, like initially, before, what was like the most challenging thing starting again?
First, that I needed to stop like the whole I'm too old for this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because that to me was my biggest challenge. There were some professors that were like younger than me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would freak me out even more. And I don't know, I guess I was like um embarrassed of being
Oh,
there, embarrassed
man.
that, I was like so old or what other people were thinking. But at the end of the day, who cares what anybody
Who
else is thinking?
cares? Exactly. So then you would
And
say so then
I,
your biggest challenge was kind of like self-imposed, was something that,
yes, definitely. Like,
wow. Yeah.
walking into class, I already have a lot of anxiety. And then just walking into these classrooms, I was like terrified.
Yeah.
And, I made friends. There's a lot of, most of the classes that I had, there was a lot of group work and
Right.
uh, you had to meet your peers. And even though that freaked me out the most, that was like the best experiences that I had,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
agree. I would say like
And it was really cool.
in the classes that I've taken, because and I will just openly admit this, but I have not finished my degree yet. I mean, I've taken a lot of professional development and learning experiences, but I think I still have a little bit of that voice, that self-doubt in my head about completing it or finishing it. I mean, I know I'm going to complete it,
Yeah.
no doubt. I'm going to complete it. And I've even joked around and said, you know what? I'm going to, even if I'm the 80-year-old grandma who marches across, I'm going to get my degree somewhere or another.
Well, but
So
you've seen that, right? There is an
absolutely,
80-year-old grandma.
absolutely, of course.
She did
And
it for herself too.
yeah, and but for me, it's been sort of, I think it's been more, I've been picking away at it slowly, and then something will happen where I just stop. And I guess
Yeah.
because I work full time,
Yeah.
I'm still doing the classes. Like, it's not my main priority. Work is my main priority right now, and building a career and building what we're doing is
Yeah.
our my main priority. But I still am going to finish,
Yeah.
my degree. But
So am I.
I agree with you. Like, that was probably the most. I'll give you an example of one class I took, and it was one of those filler classes that I had to take, and it was Spanish. And so I had a it was delightful. It was delightful. So a lot of the kids, and I do emphasis on kids, they were all like still in high school taking AP classes. They were taking classes that were college credit, and they were there. And so when everyone had to, like, hey, everyone, we're going to go around and introduce ourselves. Don't
Oh,
you just love that? I was
wow.
like, yeah, my name's Christian Farrell. I kept it very short. But everyone
Short and
else
sweet
was,
people.
yeah, everyone else was like, yeah, I am a junior at such and such high school. Bro, I was like, oh, I'm definitely
Be your mother.
I am the elder in the group.
I had a story like that. One of my professors, which actually, when I graduated high school, I did start college, and I did maybe, well, I did a couple semesters, and one of the classes that I always wanted to take back then, I could never get in because he was the only professor teaching that course,
Hmm.
and his classes were always full. And I always said, okay, I'll do it next semester. I couldn't
Yep.
get in. It's okay, fine. I'll do it next semester. I didn't get
Yep.
in, whatever. I'll do it next semester. And then I stopped going. So, you know, it never happened.
It
So
happens.
20 years later, I'm back there and I need to take another elective. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if they still have this class. And I
Yeah.
looked it up and it was still there. And he's still teaching the class. He's
No way.
in his 80s, still
Bless his
teaching this class. And
heart.
I'm like, this is meant to be. I need to take this class because I just need to.
Yeah.
Well, he's very involved with his students, and it was all online because this was
Yeah.
during COVID.
COVID times.
This was all online, and he's very involved, and he wanted to know everybody, and he wanted a lot of that interaction. And he did the icebreaker about talking to people and stuff. And asked me a question, and then he goes, yeah, because how old are you? And I was like,
So he asked how old. I mean, that's yeah.
yeah. And then when I said it, he goes, oh, well, I shouldn't have asked that, but
no.
and I'm
But
like, no, it's actually fine because for what the purpose he was using it for, anyways, like it just, you know, it was giving different perspectives of different people.
absolutely, yeah, yeah.
So it was okay, but that's like my biggest fear, and it came true. Like,
Jeez, oh my God. People are not supposed to ask your age
no.
anymore. They're not supposed to ask your
But
age.
it shouldn't be uncomfortable for you to say how old you are
That is
either,
true.
and
Okay,
that's
that is
what really
true.
sucks because the moment you say how old you are, people start looking at you like differently. And a lot of it is us being in our heads too.
Yes. Oh my
Um,
gosh. Totally.
but there is also, a lot of judgment with age.
There
And it's
is.
funny because I started watching a show that came out, what, 10 years ago, that I had started watching, and then I wasn't really into it because I guess I wasn't old enough to understand it. But it's called Younger.
I love Younger. Oh my God, I loved it.
And
Loved
oh
it.
man, I am cracking up watching that all
Yeah,
over
it's
again. Because
fun. It's
now
fun.
now I now I it makes more sense to me,
Sure.
everything.
Yeah.
And she went through that, and it's true. She had to lie about her age to get a job. And
Yeah.
like, come
What
on.
that show that it's so
That's what
funny
we're
because
getting.
as delightful as that show was, like there were many times that I felt so anxious for her because she was like always just one situation away from being exposed. And I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately, and I'm not going to give it away for those that probably haven't seen it yet, but yeah, the whole ageism thing, and that's honestly we can get into a whole deep conversation about that,
We
but
will.
again, kind of bringing it back again to this, and thank you for sharing that. I mean, that's it is a big fear to have to like it's being very vulnerable to just come out and say something as simple as that, right? Like I am this years old. This is
Yeah.
my age. And I am here taking up this space with the rest of you who are significantly younger than me for the same purpose that you are, is to do this for myself because they're doing it for themselves, because for them it might seem like it's just part of the trajectory because they're young,
Yeah.
coming out of high school. That's the thing to do, is go to college.
Yeah.
But sometimes we take a different path and then or have different experiences and then we come back. It's like a full circle moment, right?
Yeah.
So that's
But like you were
fantastic.
saying earlier, like I feel my 20s, would I have been this dedicated? Probably not. So I feel
I
like
don't think I would have, to be
all my
honest.
experiences have made me a better
Yeah,
student, I feel like.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it was hard because it is going back to the learning how to study again and all that,
Hmm.
because it's a lot of reading and a lot of just,
Time management. Time
yeah.
management. So
So
then with that note, so how did you manage your time and balance school with your life, with other commitments?
well, when I started, eh, thankfully for me, it was a different story because when I started, it was still COVID, so there was nothing else to do. So I was able to slowly get on that pace and start the whole, because how I used to study when I was younger, you
Hmm.
can't do the same thing like that now. Your memory is not what it used to be, and
Yeah.
working certain parts of your brain again that you haven't been using. And I had to get into a habit of a new learning style for me, and what was going to work and what wasn't. And
Yeah.
um, the good thing is that I am, studying psychology. So a lot of the things that I was learning, I was able to use
Sure.
for studying and for memorizing things. And but then as I went after I got my associates, that I went to my bachelor's, that I had already started working. That is just, organizing and planning. Everything has to be organized and everything has to be planned in advance. And for me, I isolated myself a lot.
Mm.
And
Well,
it's because
COVID
I
made it
had,
easy, right? COVID made it
yeah,
easy for a lot of us to isolate.
yeah. And then, but afterwards, I didn't go back back to like going out and hanging out with my
Okay.
friends, because I had another goal, and that was that I wanted to be on the dean's list every single semester.
Oh,
And I did it every single semester, but it was a lot of work. And, I hardly went out. I was always studying. It was work, school, work,
yeah,
school. I didn't give myself, a chance to do anything else. I did have a few trips in between here and there
sure.
because, I'm not out of, but, yeah, it's a lot of work. So, but, I found different ways of staying motivated. And a lot of the times were meeting other people in the classroom that, because afterwards I did realize I wasn't the only one that was older in
Okay,
these classrooms.
nice.
There was mothers there that were going back to school. Like they got married. They have, a husband at home or a wife at home, and they have kids, and they have a full-time job, and they're still coming to school. And I'm
Yeah,
like, whatever. If they can do all that,
that's right.
so can I.
Good for you. That's all.
Because
And look at you.
yeah,
Again, yay, you did it.
yeah,
You did all of that. And then
yeah.
to say, and this is such a Paula thing or such a Virgo thing too. Oh, I'm going to make the dean's list.
Oh
I'm
my
going to make the
God.
dean's
Who
list.
says that? So many people, and I've heard this like, it doesn't matter. A degree is a degree, whether
Absolutely, yeah. But
you're
that's
gonna get the
okay.
degree anyways.
It almost
But
isn't it?
I know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
know
You know,
that I made the dean's list
you
every
gave it.
single semester.
That's right. You gave that extra. It's kind of like you already were immersed in this experience. You already created this goal to go back to school, but within that goal, he created these little micro goals, right?
Yeah.
Your micro goal was like, by me studying this, my payoff is that I'm going to, like, your reward was to make it in the dean's list. How amazing is that? So,
Yeah.
yeah, girl. So let me ask you then, and not going dark here, but like, was there any time that you felt like quitting when you started, or like you
Oh,
felt like
all the
giving up?
time.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, because it's like, why am I doing this? And is it really gonna matter? And I've been doing so well without it. I've been doing so well without my degree that, is it really going to change anything for me?
Right.
And so there was times where I was like, I can't take it anymore. I need a break. But
You stuck it
then I
out.
quickly realized that, no, this is something that I've always wanted to do. And why do I keep, pushing it back? And now that I have this opportunity, just go for it and finish, I'm
That's
not a
right.
quitter.
What advice for someone that's listening, if there was anything, if there my wish today is that someone tunes into this episode and listens to this conversation, and it serves them as a way of inspiration, right? Because if they've been thinking about it for a while, like, oh man, I want to go back to school, I don't know where to start or whatever, but they know they want to do it, right? So what advice would you have for someone that's considering going back to school, that's obviously later in their life? What
Oh
advice
my
would you
gosh,
have for them?
just do it. Just do it. Just do
Just do
it.
it.
Do it. And the first thing is you got to get out of your head, because that's the
Yeah.
first thing. You're in your head, you're going to be like, oh, I'm too old, and it doesn't matter. It does matter. Do it for yourself. Don't do it for anybody else. And then the whole thing is the financial thing. A lot of people get stuck with, I know student loans suck. I know there's a lot of people that are still, in their 40s, maybe in their 50s, still paying their student loans. But there's a lot of different grants, financial aid out there. You just have to, every single college, every single university, and anybody that's giving courses, they will tell you about how to get financial aid.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's different, and this is like, you can go into, for example, FIU, You go into their website, you can sign up to receive like, information courses, and it's online. You don't even have to go to campus, which they do have them at campus, but it's online. And they explain it to you. They talk to you about how to sign up for class, how to sign up for financial aid. There's all these different resources and all these different campuses that you can go and use. And in your university, they have it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They make it so easy. It's just that you have to reach out to get the information. That's
you have, you have. It can't just jump itself on your lap. You actually have to make the first step, which is
the information is there, and they will help you. And it feels really awkward at first because I'm like, oh, because mostly everyone working in these offices are all students, so they're all like 20 years old. So you kind of feel weird with them, but just ask them. Do it. Don't. This is your sign. If you were waiting for a sign,
this is your sign. Absolutely.
That's just fantastic. Do it. And it doesn't have to be to get a degree. Maybe some people are looking to get some kind of a technical license or any kind of course.
A license or a certification.
You always wanted to do.
Step. Yeah.
Just do it. Just do it. Don't think about it anymore. There's all kinds of financing available.
True.
We could get another pandemic, people, and you don't know if you're going to make it out of that one. So just don't think about it anymore.
Listen to Paula, everyone, because she is, you're spot on. So then based on your experience and Leah Remini's story, in starting this chapter and finishing something, I mean, it's a big deal. It's a big deal to get a degree. I don't care whether if we're talking about associates to a PhD, whatever. It's a big deal. Because there are a lot of people, like you said, that are just either can't afford it or for whatever reason just don't get a college education. And again, doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. I don't want people to feel like you have to get a college degree. But like you said, it could be a license to be an electrician. It could be a license to be an esthetician, whatever it is. Like it still requires going back into a routine and having to be enrolled, study, prioritizing your time, studying, et cetera, doing all of that.
And those people that are saying, oh, I don't have time.
Yeah.
I've been in classes with many mothers.
Yeah.
They have, spouses
we can make the time
to take care of and children and animals.
And
they still make the time. And I'm here. I can't be complaining. So those days where I was like complaining, I'm like, how am I complaining? I don't have any children to take care of. Like,
no, you could. I totally understand, and I know that when taking my college courses here and there, it's been the same thing. It's like I had to sort of do that balancing act, right, between immediately being done with a 9-hour day and then immediately having to like maybe eat my dinner really quickly and then jumping online on class. Because sometimes I would do these online courses versus going in person. But it still meant that I had to be fully present, that I still have to do the work. And so I feel like we limit ourselves by creating excuses, right?
So get out of your head.
Get out of your head.
But, now we have this amazing thing, which is taking courses online.
I know.
So, I mean, I prefer in person, obviously, because
it's a commitment that you're making.
I do prefer in person, but those online classes sometimes save you because you just got home from work and you have there's times where I would come, I'd have 15 minutes to change, eat something like really quick,
like
a yogurt or whatever, and go to school. And with online classes, I would come in, I would change, and I could eat as I'm in the middle of class. Like I would turn on I wouldn't leave my camera on. I didn't want to eat.
Sure.
But
oh my gosh, if I could just tell you about half the stuff I saw when people would have their cameras on. I was like, you should turn your camera. Like the couple of times some students I had to tell them, turn your camera off. This one girl, no lie, she was driving. She was on her phone, driving, putting on makeup with the music blasting.
No.
I I was, but hey, she was there. She showed up, right? I mean, I would recommend people go driving.
Um, please don't do your makeup while driving, first of all.
There were so many things wrong with that, and I just remember like being like this the whole time. It's like, oh my, like I felt like I was on the edge of my seat. Like, oh my God, please don't let anything bad happen to this person, because I don't know if I could stand it.
Yeah, it's never too late to learn and grow regardless of age. Everybody should be doing it. You should constantly keep wanting to grow and wanting to learn.
I agree.
It shouldn't stop at any age, or it shouldn't stop, because now, I don't know, you're a housewife and that's your only job.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your only job, but you can still keep learning and growing. For you can still keep doing that. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be, to get a better paycheck, or even though that helps.
That helps. One thing I found very important about this, Paula, is that building a support system is super important with this.
Yeah.
Like having and I don't know if this was your experience, because I know that it was during the pandemic, so that made it a little bit easier for people. People were isolating anyway, but having being able to have friends, because you knew that your social life was probably going to take a hit, right? But then having those friends, that core support group that understood, or maybe even encouraged you along the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot. I didn't really, in the beginning, I didn't really want to tell anybody that I went back to school, because I'm like, who's gonna care? And I'm already old, and I just, who cares?
Oh my God.
But after I started my semester, I think about the first, yeah, after I started my semester, I started telling my friends and that I had gone back to school, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, that's so great, that's so awesome!" And I really wasn't expecting, all of that, and then they would, check up on me. How's school going? How's class going? Are you still going to school? And they're like, "Yep, still going strong."
That's
and
awesome.
That helped a lot. So yeah, support system is really important. To have somebody, being your cheerleader. You need, everybody needs a cheerleader.
That's right.
So, and if you don't have one, Chris and I can.
We're your cheerleaders. We're here for you, because we're here for each other, and that's kind of like how this podcast, how it turned into a podcast, really is just that part of it. I mean, I've always kind of wanted to dip my toe into the world of creating a podcast, whether it be from a production end or content creator, but this just became such an organic opportunity for us, because we were kind of leaning on each other anyway for checking in with each other and keeping each other accountable with these goals and these things that we're creating and these projects that we're working on. So it just felt like a natural fit, right? Like I love this. I love that we're able to do that. So we're here to encourage those that need that little push or that little bit of extra encouragement. You can do it. It doesn't matter. But exactly, I'm going to go back to what you said earlier, Paula, is like it all starts with getting out of your head, getting that self-doubt out of your head. Mm-hmm. And then from there, and it's not gonna go away completely, because I think anything new that we try, that little voice, right, is gonna always be there. But then we just have to work at punching it in the face. I don't know. Or going to your friends. Let your friends come to us and let us encourage you to keep going, because that's what it's all about.
Maybe all you need is a little bit a cheerleader, because that's what we all need sometimes, that to reach out to us. We can, or even discuss your story with us, and maybe we can help you figure out what extra push you need, or
that's right.
Maybe you have questions about anything that maybe we have answers for you. Maybe you have questions on how to get resources to go back to school, or to take a class or a course somewhere, or anything like that. Maybe we can help.
Or if you're someone that was able to do all of this, what advice would you have for someone that's, this thinking about starting again? Like we want to build a community of people that can encourage each other and can support each other.
Yeah, because everybody's story is different, and maybe there's somebody out there with really good advice to give and that might help someone else. And that would be really great.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. And for those that are new again, thank you for tuning in, and share with a friend, share with them and tell them all about Rebelize Change, because we're here to shake things up.
It's never too late. It's never too late to follow your dreams or to reach those goals that you thought that you could never reach because you already believe you already crossed that stage in your life. It's never too late. It really isn't. Like, so do some reflection, revisit those dreams that you've always had that you thought, or get new. If you don't have any, get new dreams, because sometimes, your dreams change, you grow, they change, and you want to get something else, and it sounds outrageous, but you know what? It's never too late.
That's right.
It's get out of your head and start today.
Absolutely. You got it. That's right. And make us your new besties. We're here for you.
We'll be your cheerleaders. Tell us your story. We'll check up on you.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Rebelize Change. We hope it left you feeling inspired and ready to chase those dreams. Hey, we'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts and questions with us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube, all at Rebelize Change. That's REBELIZE Change. We might even feature you in a future episode. See you next time.